Hi, in this video, we're going to configure two DHCP servers. We're going to configure one DHCP server for the 10.10.1.0/24 network and another DHCP server for the 10.21.0 network. In a later lab, we will see, and in another class, we will see that you can actually have a single DHCP server for multiple networks. We use something called DHCP relay. So the router relays the DHCP messages between the client and the DHCP server. But that's for another lab. So let's go ahead and get started. What I'm going to do here first is I'll use a copper straight through cable, connect the servers to the switch. Here we go. Then let's go ahead and configure this DHCP server, connect this one also to the Ethernet switch. All right, starting at this server here, notice spanning tree is running. That's why the light is link light is amber on the switch. It will turn green in about 50 seconds. All right, let's go to config here. The first thing I need to do is configure the IP address of this server. It's going to have a static IP address. So we'll give it the 10.10.1.10 address. I'm going to make the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. And we'll also give it a default gateway address 10.10.1.1. Okay. All right. And let's go ahead and configure the DHCP services. So I'm going to go over here to services, DHCP, going to make this a little larger here. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to allocate addresses starting with 10.10.1, and then we're going to make this .50 will be the first address. Now you notice that Packet Tracer already filled out the first part of this for me. That is because we put the IP address on this server. On this server here, I'll show you, we'll do the DHCP services first and then the IP address. All right, so the first address we want to allocate is the .50. Okay, so each device will get a separate, unique address starting with 10.10.1.50, then 51, 52. They'll all get the same subnet mask. We'll make it so there are 100 addresses it can allocate. The default gateway, well, that's going to be the router, 10.10.1.1. So let's do that, 10.10.1.1. And what about the DNS server? We haven't done DNS yet, but that address, after we get the DNS server configured in a later lab, will be 209.88.50.20. Okay, that will be address of the DNS server. So what's going to happen here is these devices here are all going to get an address starting with 10.10.1.50, 51, 52. They'll each get a unique IP address, but they'll all get the same subnet mask. They'll all get the same address, the same of the default gateway, the same address, and the same address for DNS server. One last thing I need to do, I need to turn this service on. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay. All right, that server should be all ready to go. Oh, I need to save it. That's the other thing I need to do. There we go. Save it, service on. Don't forget to do save. Okay, save and then service on. Okay, let me go ahead and close that. Let's go ahead and make sure all of our devices are DHCP. Now I'm in global settings here. I can just do DHCP right here, or I can do it from fast Ethernet. You can kind of see the 10.10.1.50. That was the first one. Let's do another one here. Config. Let me go to fast Ethernet. We can actually see it happen. DHCP 10.10.1.51. We'll verify the addresses more in a moment. What other devices over here? Let's do these here. We haven't done the laptop yet. That's going to be coming later lab. Config. Let's just do it right here from global configuration mode. I'm good with that. And same here. DHCP. Once you do it in one spot, either for global settings, it will do it for the IP configuration as well. All right, so we'll verify this more in a moment, but let's go over here to this DHCP server. What I'm going to do here for this one is actually go to services first, just to show you the difference. Either order is fine, although configuring the IP address on the server is kind of best, because notice, services, I got to put in all this information myself. Okay, if I did the IPv4 address on the server first, it would fill this in, knowing what network it's on. But let's just to show you, we can do this 10, either order, 20, 1 dot, and the first address is going to be 50. See, I got to put in all this myself. 255, 255, 255, 0. Okay, we'll give out 100 addresses. Oops. 100, there we go. Our default gateway is going to be 10.20.1.1. Okay, so notice we are giving addresses starting with 10.20.1.50. Okay, different network here. The default gateway, they're all going to get 10.21.1, and it's going to be the same DNS server, 209.88.50.20. I think we're good to go. I'll save that first. There we go. Save, and I'll turn this service on as well. Now what I have to do is don't forget to configure that IP address. See, I hadn't done that yet. Had I done that first, the other information would have been partially filled in for me. It's going to be a static address. So we're getting 10.21.10, 10.20.1.10, so you can see that. 255, 255, 255.0. Okay, that's looking good. And let's give it a default gateway too, 10.20.1.1. Okay, so there's my default gateway. There's my static. All right, I think we're looking good there. Let's configure these for DHCP. I go to Fast Ethernet, I should see that come up with 10.21.51. Looks like I've got another one already set for DHCP. Let's see. Config. Let's go DHCP there. Okay. Config. DHCP. And config DHCP. Okay, I can go ahead and start to verify some of this. Let's go back over to this network here. PC1, if I go to desktop, command prompt, something you can do on your computer, right? Windows, IP config. On Linux and Mac OS, it's ifconfig, but there we see. We got an address, subnet mask, default gateway. If I wanted to get the DNS server, also /all. There we go. And we can get see the address of the DNS server as well. Okay, so here's our DNS server address. So the /all here includes the DNS server address. Okay, and along with the other information as well. Okay, let's take a look at another one here. Let's go down here, this PC here. Desktop. IP config /all. And we can see, yes. There we go. There's its IPv4 address, subnet mask, default gateway, and there's the DNS server. It also includes the address of the DND, knows who the DHCP server it is that got its address from. Okay, let's do one of these over here. How about PC5? Desktop, command prompt, ipconfig/all. There we go. Similar information for this network. Okay, so we can see the IPv4 address, different network, subnet mask, default gateway, and there's the DNS server address. Okay, now we haven't configured routing, so we can't get to these devices over here, but we do have a router here that is connected to both networks. Matter of fact, I do go here to CLI. We've done this before. Cisco enable class show IP route. This router is connected to both networks. It's connected to the 10.11, 10.10, let me show the right network, 10.10 1.0 network here, and it's connected to the 10.20 1.0 network here. So let's verify that we can actually reach between the two networks. So let's go over here to PC1. And we saw that it has this address here, 10.10 1.51. Okay. And let's remember that address here. I could do a copy like this if I want to. Let's go over here to PC5, and we're going to ping that address. Ping. I could do a paste. There we go. 10.10 1.51. So what I'm at PC5, I'm going to ping PC1. Now, why does the first one or two time out? ARP requests. Okay. All right, so we're all set. So this is typically how clients receive their IP addressing information. At home, your router acts as a DHCP server. Okay. In a later lab, we're going to do the laptop, and we're going to do some routing as well. So we're almost there. Okay. Hopefully this lab helped explain a little bit about DHCP or how to configure it in Packet Tracer, configure the DHCP servers. Like I mentioned, in a enterprise network, we typically have one DHCP server, maybe a couple of DHCP servers for the entire enterprise that would service clients across a variety of our networks within our enterprise network, which is shown here on this side of the blue line. All right, have a great day.